Hey, good morning everyone. Welcome to Everyday Faith Day 1. I don't have my Everyday Faith devotional yet, so I'm coming at y'all digitally today. So I feel your pain if you don't have your box yet. I don't have mine yet either. And I, like you, am surprised each month. You know, sometimes I'll know the book that goes in there. Most of the time I'll know the theme, but I don't know all the other stuff, and I love that surprise factor. So I can't wait to get it. But if you haven't gotten your box yet, it's on the way. But I'm going to go ahead and let the cat out of the bag, let y'all know what the journey and theme is this month. Last month we were in kindness, we grew a ton through it. This month we're going to talk about failure and failing forward and growing through our failure and not letting it beat us down. And if anybody can speak well on failure, it's me, because my entire life has been one failure after another, but growing through that failure. So let's jump in. I'll read the introduction as always first, and we'll go through day 1. Hey Faithbox, let's admit it. We all carry regrets and even a bit of shame over the past failures in our lives. We all know what it's like to mess up, miss the mark, or completely botch something important in our lives. Failed expectations, failed relationships, failed investments, failed marriages, failed projects, failed business ventures. The list goes on and on and on, and I know my list goes longer and longer and longer and longer. We also know that we can't be the only ones who have dealt with failure. So why is it that we don't talk about our failures more often? Why are we afraid to admit we failed or let others fall into the same failures that we've had? If everyone is familiar with failure, shouldn't this be an area where we can emphasize and encourage each other? We think the answer to that last question is a resounding yes. That's why this month we're jumping headfirst into the theme of failure. In fact, we're not just going to talk about failure, we're going to learn what it takes to navigate failure and how we can move forward from our failures together. It's time we talk about the elephant in the room and discover what God says about failure, and more importantly, what he says about you despite your failures. We are all in this together. All right, so let's jump into day 1. Day 1 comes from Luke 22:32, and it says this: "But I have pleaded in prayer for you, Simon, that your faith should not fail. So when you have repented and turned to me again, strengthen your brothers." So if you continue to read, it says, "So when you have repented and turned to me again." Jesus spoke this to Peter right on the heels of revealing that Satan had asked to sift Peter. In other words, Satan had requested permission to disrupt Peter's life in a way that would lead to him failing and potentially even causing him to renounce his faith. Yet Jesus' response wasn't, "I'll protect you, I'll make sure you're safe." Instead, Jesus simply revealed that Peter would fail, but one day he would return ready to strengthen his brothers. That's such a beautiful thing. We'll come back to it. When it comes to failure, we often believe God could have or should have intervened and prevented it. But Jesus has actually allowed for the opposite to occur. And he's done so because it's through failure that we develop character, build resilience, and are able to strengthen others. Failure stings and it hurts, but failure is not final. Rather, failure is the fuel that moves us closer to who Jesus envisioned we could become. Man, I'll tell y'all what, I've never met someone inspiring that didn't fail. You know, no one has the story, "Oh, it was easy. You know, I was raised with a silver spoon in my mouth. I never had any issues. I never had any worries. My parents had the perfect marriage. You know, my brothers and sisters, we all got along. Everything was perfect. I never failed." You know, that's not the story that inspires us. The story that inspires us is the ones that failed, the ones that gotten through adversity, the ones that have stories to tell about, you know, grinding and grinding and grinding and getting through to the other side. That's the beautiful part of our stories. The failure is the good stuff. It might be dirty, it might not be fun, you might be in it right now, but you know, I can count maybe 7, 8, 10 businesses that I've started that haven't ended well, but I learned and I grew through all of them to get me where I am today, and I don't regret one of them. I don't regret one of the failures because I failed forward, I failed through it, and that's what we're going to learn about this month. Guys, I'm excited to be a part of this with you guys this month. I know Ricky will be chiming in a bunch and some of you other Faithbox members, but let's fail forward together, not be ashamed of our failure, because we can grow and help others grow through that. Guys, be blessed. Talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye-bye.